I'm not ever voting Republican. Okay, but there's other choices on the left. You don't have to vote for someone who believes in this huge socialist government. There's primaries that happen all the time. So when the primary comes along, look at the voting history of people in the primary. So you're gonna vote Democrat? Okay, that's fine. But look at the different Democrats and see which ones vote where, which one's ideology lands where your ideology is. You don't have to vote for the same one. We are being joined now by Marcus. Thank God.
Hey guys, hey everybody.
My voice was straining there for a minute.
I didn't mean to leave you hanging. I had some people working on my house, and
that's always interesting.
Let's just say that if it was done the way it was supposed to be done and when it was supposed to be done, I'd have been here far before the time.
Well, we haven't done.
Oh my goodness. So there's some mold remediation that needs to be done, and some basic fixes that need to be addressed, and I have a lot to say.
That's why you gotta call my brother and my dad, for that stuff.
I have a lot to say. Well, I don't own this particular property so I'm renting this apartment,
right.
so
that
this
makes
is,
sense,
so it's all up to the people that are behind everything, which it's a actual management company under another company that's in the middle of Iowa somewhere or something. Right? Oh my goodness, listen, I've had so many issues with them, and it's crazy. I went somewhere the other day and they said that there is a known issue with my management company. I said, oh, well, I never could have told you that.
Right?
I never would have thought.
Like I was just saying, you don't know who to go to.
I never would have thought. And I think the craziest thing is that I've heard so far today, out of everything that I've heard that was so crazy is, Brian said, the people in Nancy Pelosi's district elected Nancy Pelosi. Right? I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Maybe
she shows up. Put it that way.
Maybe it's so. Does she do what's necessary for her district?
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Maybe her donors.
Exactly.
Maybe her donors. I don't even know what the actual voting percentage is in her district. I wouldn't imagine that it's that high.
And I don't believe they put a viable candidate up against her either. That's the problem.
They have some people that have tried to run against her to primary her, but the Democrat Party even slaps them down.
Exactly. That's the biggest problem. You see in primaries with people like Pelosi, she's never going to get primaried because they're not going to let it happen.
They don't try to let it happen. They fight them with the court cases and everything.
And that happens on both sides. You'll see it. But I mean, a lot on the Democratic side where you see. Someone come in who's more middle of the road and they get slapped around.
Well, we've had it happen with multiple court cases here in Rochester just over the last couple of months.
Yep. Oh yeah.
We've had that happen and nobody says anything and nobody is like, oh, it's an issue or whatever the case is. I mean, just maybe we should first look at these people who are not only career politicians, right? Like the career politicians are one issue. But more so than that is the career politicians that have seats that do nothing and then run for another office. They just shift offices. So one of the big issues that we have where we live in Rochester specifically is the Rochester City School Board and the City Council. They flip-flop back and forth. The same thing could be said for the county ledge that operates through the city. School board, city council, board, county ledge, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Term limits matter. But
absolutely, yeah.
But aside from term limits, we also have the fact that people don't get disheartened. I know Brian was like, oh, well, nothing's gonna change.
I said not overnight. I said we won't change overnight. I said, but we gotta make changes somewhere, or else it's never gonna change.
Well, we have to start to get active.
Correct.
If we don't get active now, nothing is going to change. Not now, not ever. And one of the biggest things that I've been seeing that's become a very big issue is people are like, they see a candidate that's running, say, oh, I want to do something different. This is what I stand for. And they stand for all of the right things and they stand on those right things. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal. They're like, oh, well, your vote doesn't count anyway. Why I'm not gonna vote?
Yeah, that's the crazy vote. Attitude. Right
you sound crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. You gotta vote because it does matter. It absolutely matters.
Every vote matters. I know there was a town council race, one of the surrounding suburbs here in Rochester area, and the guy won by 10 votes.
Yeah,
10 votes. That's insane to me.
that's 10 people decided not to vote, changed it,
10
or
people and how many people do you know that say, oh, I don't vote because my vote doesn't matter?
So many, and people say that about the presidential election, but then you don't vote, and then you don't vote down ballot at all either. So, I mean, and it does matter for the presidential election, because there was a time when Republicans did win New York State. When they won California.
True. That's true.
It's not like it can never happen. And when people get when people get upset enough, when people see the monstrosity this government's become and how much their lives are being controlled, they will make the changes, and they will. But you have to, like you said, you got to get active. You got to talk, and people don't talk about politics. Don't you always hear that? No, do talk about politics.
One of the biggest issues that I see always is that people, especially in a lot of these groups, neighborhood groups, Facebook groups, or whatever, they're like, oh, it's crime. And you'll be like, oh, well, maybe we should change the laws that are allowing the criminals to run amok. And they're like, oh, you can't talk about crime. This doesn't have anything to do with politics.
Right?
What do you mean?
It has everything to do.
Who do you think passes the laws? You elect politicians. Politicians make the laws. They write the laws. What did you think? The laws came out of the sky? They just.
Well, then you get suspended.
I wish we had the laws that came out of the sky, because we don't operate by the 10 Commandments anymore.
No, well, I was saying that earlier. I was saying how I said, I heard earlier on another program, they said, you can have all the bad laws you want. If you actually had parents who were involved and people who didn't commit crimes, that'd be great. But it's not a reality, unfortunately. So we do need the laws. Because we don't have people who operate by, in the name of God or anything like that anymore. It's, as you see God removed, you see, someone else come in. And unfortunately, you see the evil. I was talking about the last week in the city. It's been insane.
No. Week? Oh.
No, I said years originally. But the last week has even been worse.
Let me tell you about this, you guys. Brian is being ever so generous right now. Ever so generous. Over the weekend, we've had, 6 murders?
Yep.
6 murders.
Crazy.
Last weekend, we had 8 murders. Now, that doesn't even include all of the murders in between.
And it's just getting warm.
If you take the last 2 weeks, combine the last 14 days, we've had almost 29, 32 stabbings, somewhere in that range. That's stabbings, right?
Yeah.
Then the shootings are like 16, 17.
Yeah.
You got more stabbings than you got shootings, and everybody, the guns are the problem. The criminals are the problem. You got
exactly. You take their guns away, they're gonna still find a way to commit crimes.
They're gonna beat you with rocks. It's to push them off bridges. What they used to put people's feet in concrete and dump them in the lake, right?
They'll find a way. They'll find a way.
If you lived through the 80s, you might remember them beating people with bars and chains, and I mean,
I'll grab a microphone if you're mad enough.
You see. Still today, you see people beaten to death.
All the time.
And people act like these are not real issues. The real issue is that people are not being punished for the violent crimes. Listen, let's be very clear, right? Basic, simple, non-violent offenses that are not robberies or theft, okay, are not the issue. It's the violent crimes, it's the theft, it's the property destruction that are the issues, where people are allowed to get away with these and nothing is done. They are not punished, and because they aren't punished, because they're not punished, it emboldens both them and other people seeing it.
Correct.
And nothing gets done. The state assembly does not care. Those are the people who make the laws.
Yes, exactly.
The state senate, they don't care. Those are the people who make the laws.
Yes, they don't care.
City council, they say that, well, we can't do anything, but they make the laws for the city.
Yep.
If they say that you can't chew bubble gum on a Sunday, you can't chew bubble gum on a Sunday.
If they say the police can't do this, they can't do that.
Well, but they've already said that, because they set police policy, and they said those laws regarding that. So, and then they're like, oh, well, what's going on? Well, you can't chase anybody in the city. The police can't chase anybody.
Nope.
It's crazy. If you're a lawyer and you're out there listening right now and you want to take up a class action lawsuit, okay, I got the class action lawsuit for you, okay, right here in Rochester. They're not providing the basic means of government, which is the general concept of public safety.
Correct, but they'll involve in every other aspect of your life.
Listen, government has one purpose: to provide you with not even to keep you safe. General public safety.
General public safety and to protect your rights. Those are the two things for the government. That's it.
Yes. You shouldn't have to worry about going outside and marauders coming.
Correct.
Because if that's the case, government is pointless and useless. But they'll take all your money for taxes and everything else.
And they don't let the law-abiding citizens of the city, get guns that protect themselves.
Oh,
and
don't
make
even
it
get
so
me
hard.
started on the Second Amendment in New York
Ridiculous.
State. Oh boy, I got a lot to say on that. Oh
yeah.
Oh boy, we'll be here all day. That's 5 different episodes. Okay.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, we look at things the way that they're going right now, and I take, for example, these crazy anti-American jihadists
Insane.
that are terrorizing our whole country on college campuses, talking about, oh, we are
Hamas.
We are Hamas. We are Hezbollah.
It's like
we deaf to America. Deaf to America. I'm American. I'm American. My people have been Americans since before America was a nation. I don't have anywhere to go. My lineage traces back to before the country was a country. Where am I supposed to go? You're wishing death on me, my people, my countrymen, you, Brian.
Absolutely.
All of us.
All of us.
And they get away with this.
Doesn't matter what race you are. Doesn't matter what if you're an American, they're wishing death on everyone.
They're threatening you with death and destruction.
Which is terrorism.
That is terrorism. They've openly declared war on this nation.
Correct.
And that's not us saying
And they're
that.
negotiating
That's
with them. And these colleges are negotiating with
You
these
don't
people.
negotiate with terrorists.
You don't negotiate with terrorists. That's not America's #1 rule, I thought. They don't, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
That's always been a lie, though.
It's
They've pretended that.
Yeah.
How are levels looking over there? They look good?
Yeah, we're good.
They've always, that's been a lie. We don't negotiate with terrorists. They've always negotiated. You should never negotiate with terrorists. I'm going to tell you right now, listen. If I were ever to kidnap I don't know who it is, but they can go kick rocks.